I'm Matthew. Can I do it like this? Oh, of course, this will be interesting. They go separately. I wanted notes, but it's not that smart because anyway. I'm a long-time Rubyist. Been involved with this meetup historically and also the JavaScript one in Wellington. I'm currently a senior engineer at AMP. Use amp.com as the website, and it's a remote role for a company that's founded in Singapore, but my teammates are Singapore and Melbourne, and started working with a team that's also 12 hours time difference, so that's something. Has ups and downs. And we build Shopify apps for e-commerce merchants. So getting my hands dirty with a lot of Ruby, a lot of TypeScript, which is mostly for React, and also Terraform. So all the way across the stack, which is cool. I like to ride bikes and abuse AI to make my life easier. So that might actually be something we could chat with in the tools if people are interested. And hopefully I'm a familiar face to some of you, and if not, hi, welcome. Cool. What I want to cover, you thought you were coming for a namespacing talk. We're going to talk about the economy. Then we'll get to the software architecture and kind of hopefully how they're related. Let's dive in. Does that graph look familiar to anyone, just out of interest? So I stole it from pragmaticengineer.com, who has really good Substack blog on all things kind of engineering and kind of almost the leadership side of that. And I've become really fascinated by this idea of the zero interest rate policy or zero interest rate phenomenon. And so there was a period of time where money was cheap, money was free, as you can see when it's down the bottom of that graph. And so that created a bunch of outcomes in terms of software engineering. And if we just jump forward, kind of want to talk about also where are we now, and that's not that at all. Cheap money is dead, hypergrowth is dead, and mortgage rates hurt for anyone that is owning a home or even renting is not having fun at the moment. And so basically, free money from low interest rates is not a thing at the moment because inflation has been a thing, and so cash rates have gone up, which means that the cost of lending money has gone up, which means people who are like venture capitalists kind of don't have as much money to give out, and that has changed a lot for the industry as well. And so what does that look like for us in the technology space? There's a lot more of you're not gonna need it, so keeping things lean, small, bigger complex systems that were optimized for eventual growth, massive growth, less likely, less important. It's kind of more of a priority on solving the immediate customer value than building for the problem you'll have in 6 months. And if you have that problem in 6 months, good. And I think a lot of companies are also kind of discovering that small teams move really quick, and bigger teams have that overhead that sometimes makes it a bit slower. And the unfortunate side of that as well is the market's tightening for engineers, for people in the industry, and we're I think somewhat cushioned from it in New Zealand. We kind of haven't had the Silicon Valley hypergrowth model, so we haven't retreated away from that. We haven't needed to, but bigger companies have had pretty harsh layoffs over the last couple of years. And so a bit of bleakness, but it kind of changes, I think, what the focus is for an engineer and what the focus is for companies. And then that kind of leads back into the spectrum of, you have a monolith, and on the other end you have microservices. And so you can kind of fit and build your product, your suite of tools, or kind of, whatever you are creating for customer value, into somewhere along that spectrum. And so you're kind of on that majestic monolith end, a big ball of mud. I'm not sure if that rings a bell or if people have seen that before. It ends up being quite common. Rails is really good at ending up that way because it doesn't give you many tools to kind of do anything around modularization. But they're really good patterns in Django and Phoenix, in particular around contexts and context for Phoenix, and Django is like apps within a project. So there's other frameworks that do this bit a lot better. And then, yeah, if we kind of jump to the other way, you can still have a big ball of mud, but this time it has network latency and distributed transactions. So definitely a good fit for some problems. And I think kind of thing that I've been leading into from what I've been talking earlier about the economy is I think, we're shifting towards monoliths again, like lean, small. I guess monoliths don't always stay small, but well-architectured monoliths as opposed to using services as your architecture decoupling, basically. And so, one option is Rails engines. Has anyone used them in the room? Would you use them again?
Maybe. I got sucked into the concept Zebra.
Okay.
Place Rails architecture, so by the time that
Yeah. So Rails has a solution that's native. It's pretty awful. I started here when we kind of went, all right, we want to build, basically the context to, I guess, what I'll demo shortly is we wanted to start building just like a small analytics context within our application. It felt like a really good place to just put some hard boundaries in. And so, we were like, well, if we're going to do that, Rails engine seems like the natural way to go. But the problem with Rails engines is they're quite heavy-handed, and the testing story is absolutely atrocious to the point where it will generate a Rails app within your engine to do your testing for your Rails engine, which is just nasty. And like, good software engineering is a nice developer experience where the friction to creating tests is not, astronomical as it is for a Rails engine. So that got quickly discarded, which takes us into Packs Rails. And we found this, and I actually had written it off mainly because I saw packwerk first. And so packwerk is a set of, actually if I go the other way, go forward, there we go. Packwerk is a way to do, describe the configuration and do linting of modular Ruby apps or Rails apps. And it's done by Shopify, so it's kind of like, as a Shopify app developer, oh cool, we'll use the tools that they're building because they've got Ruby and Rails at scale, that seems good. But it didn't really give you much, but the real secret sauce is Packs Rails, which is Ruby gem, and that's the thing that's doing the conventions. And so you can install it. It gives you actual boundaries of, a private module and then a public kind of interface you can set up, which is really powerful and really kind of straightforward to use. And so that does lead into the demo. Oh, cool, I didn't know I could do that. Let me just work out how to throw the screen over there. So at this point, if you're watching online, this is the code that we are running in production. So it will probably be blurred, or it will just abruptly cut off. But down to tools.
Yeah, thank you.